Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show. Or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to Patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron.
You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey guys, welcome to the WWE Podcast. It's Sunday, June 23rd, 2024. We are, my gosh, less than 2 weeks now from Money in the Bank. A lot happened this week, and really, with everything happening this week, I think Money in the Bank is towards the bottom of the list of things people are discussing with all of the returns and debuts and surprise attacks and all this. Like, it doesn't seem like Money in the Bank is a focal point for a lot of people, but it's going to creep up on us, and then we're here, and WWE is rapid firing out a bunch of triple threats to get those competitors for the men and women filled for the men's and women's respective ladder matches for the Money in the Bank briefcase. So again, you know, with all this week happening, with everything that happened this week, Money in the Bank should come more into focus this coming Monday and next Friday. But I mean, there's so much else to talk about, obviously, and it's not the Money in the Bank qualifiers that most people want to discuss. It's all of the other things, and rightfully so. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a little bit more about the Wide Six, although that was covered in depth on my Monday Night Raw review. There's the attack on CM Punk that Drew McIntyre conducted that, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I kind of told you guys that was the setup here when everyone was concerned that Drew McIntyre quit. You know, I was trying to say, hey, no, this is a setup. I was saying it was a setup in the sense that he was going to humiliate Punk from the perspective of I don't quit when things get tough. It got a little more brutal than I thought it would, and we'll talk about that too. And the debut of Jacob Fatu. So we knew he was coming. We didn't know when, what side he was going to be on, and now we do. We have a distraught Paul Heyman. We had the interaction with Punk and Heyman on SmackDown. A really good SmackDown. A really, really good SmackDown that if you're in Chicago, you definitely got your money's worth for sure, and then some. And for all of those in the the international crowds that are talking about quiet U.S. crowds, well, you know, Chicago never disappoints, and they were loud. And I have to say that when I watched it back on the Hulu version, the editors post-production took out a lot of cussing chants. And when that happens, they just cut the audio. They don't try to mute it. They don't try to dub over it with crowd noise. Just so you know, like every time that you guys chant cuss words, no matter where you are, WWE just it cuts the audio completely, which is kind of annoying because you're watching the product and it takes you out and you're thinking, oh, what is it? My headphones that went, my AirPods, is it my phone, my internet connection? And then you start like restarting stuff and you realize that no, it's actually just they're cutting the audio because of the cuss words. So it's something we'll get used to, but it also is kind of annoying. It feels like they just take away part of the experience. However, I understand obviously why they do it. So we are going to talk about that in depth as well. The Roman Reigns return is burning now. His return is highly anticipated, and that is a understatement for sure, that the Roman Reigns return is something that most people, I think, are on board for in a big way. In a big way. We'll talk about that right after I let you guys know about Patreon. How do you guys get rid of the ads? I know that's the number one complaint. We've got some, very, very, very much sentimental reviews on Apple Podcasts lately. Very, very encouraging, uplifting 1-star reviews talking about either that I'm arrogant or that we have ad problems or that there's too many ads. And you can get rid of those ads. You can't get rid of my arrogance, if you want to call it that. It's more of just straight shooting and whatever. People are right with the right. But you can get rid of all the ads over at patreon.com/WWE podcast if you want to get rid of all of those pesky ads that pop up like every 8 to 10 minutes. Hey, it pays the bills and it's a free show. So I never understood why people complain about ads, because this is free content for the majority of people listening. And there are ads on every platform that you've ever experienced ever. And if you don't want them, like on Hulu, like on YouTube, like on Patreon, right? Or rather Apple Podcasts or Spreaker or some of the formats and platforms that don't allow for ad-free experiences, well, you got to deal with ads. And if you don't want to, just like every other platform, there's a way to get rid of it. And obviously that's by supporting the show that you like. And that's what we have here. So if you want to go on Patreon and support us, I'd appreciate it. And if you don't, that's cool too. Just sit back and listen. And let's get to it, guys. Roman Reigns. You know, while he didn't return this week, and I didn't expect him to, we are getting very close. Because I think now, from a personnel perspective, that we have the rogue bloodline of Solo Sikoa's version of his bloodline, his vision of the bloodline, is now complete. I don't see a fifth member joining. Feels like he's got everyone in place now. I don't even think there's any more people that could join from a family perspective, unless Rikishi comes out of retirement, right? So, you know, we obviously have Roman in the wings. We have The Rock waiting to get himself back injected into this rivalry. And now, yeah, Cody's on the opposing side. Jimmy and Jay have yet to show their faces. They'll reunite in lieu of, taking down this rogue bloodline. Roman has never been hotter than he is now, and he hasn't shown his face in 2 months. 2+, nearly going on 3 months. We haven't seen Roman Reigns, and he has never been hotter. He has officially, as I've said, the moment he lost the belt at WrestleMania 40, he is a babyface instantly. Instantly. It's the one thing that kept him a heel, was he was keeping that title hostage for so damn long, which we've broken down many times. But now you have an excellent setup. I got to give everybody props here when it comes to the storyline psychology. They've thought this one through thus far. It has been executed very well. Has it been perfect? No, but my expectation isn't perfection. It's just effective. Is it effective in what you're trying to accomplish? And I think it has. And that is, we have a rogue bloodline. We have Solo, who is the puppet master. He has his henchmen who are ruthless. Paul Heyman is stuck serving them begrudgingly, knowing that his true calling is with Roman Reigns, and he is struggling emotionally every week. And he was no different this week, asking Punk to take him with him. Paul was asking Punk to take him with him. Sounds weird, but when Punk was saying he was going to leave, and Paul Heyman wants out. And I think Paul Heyman's turning babyface too, because when Paul Heyman is reunited with Roman Reigns, I think you're going to have a babyface Paul Heyman, which we haven't had in quite a while either. It's been done. He did it with Brock Lesnar a few times. So I think you have the setup here for an amazing return for Roman Reigns. You have Jacob Fatu now in the mix. He debuted after it was the main event of Cody versus Solo at the end of the show, which didn't last long. Cody was setting up for his finish, and wham, here comes Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, the Tongans, and they end up causing a DQ. KO and Randy come out, dispatch them, and then here comes Jacob Fatu, takes out Randy, takes out Cody, takes out Kevin, and stands tall. And now we have Jacob Fatu, who I think completes the puzzle for who is going to be in Solo Sikoa's bloodline. Again, I do not believe there'll be a fifth member, because now you have 4. You have Solo, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Jacob Fatu, right? And then you have Jimmy on the other side, Jay on the other side, Roman on the other side. Who could be that fourth person to eventually oppose Solo? Who could that be? Is it The Rock? Could he temporarily align himself with Roman and they turn babyface until The Rock turns on Roman, and then you finally get Roman Rock? Or does Cody join the bloodline? And help Roman Reigns dispatch Solo, who he's been, recently involved with. How does this work? Because you can't have 4-on-3. I mean, you eventually got to even the odds out. So right now it's 4-on-3. Even though, again, the OG bloodline's not back yet. But how does that work out? I mean, I'm interested to hear what you guys think about this on the mailbag, because sometimes you guys come up with some great ideas, things I don't think about. So that's the way it stands right now. And, they could go a million ways here. It's like they've totally reshuffled the deck, even though the players aren't that much different, other than, of course, Solo has brought in 3 new guys. But the dynamic has shifted completely. It's a really fun story. And it just continues to build Roman and build Roman. Every week we're hearing "We want Roman" chants. I mean, let me just say this, or ask this. During Roman's nearly 4-year run, how many times when he was champion, when he wasn't there that week, or he was taking time off, how many times did you hear the crowd chant "We want Roman"? Can you even think of a single instance? I can't. So it's amazing. He drops the belt, instant babyface. Solo goes rogue. He's lying clearly to Paul Heyman. He tells Heyman that Roman's never coming back, which we all know is a bold-faced lie. Paul Heyman is distraught. He brings in his own guys. He's attacking babyface after babyface after babyface. He was threatening CM Punk. He attacked Cody Rhodes. He's attacking Randy. He's attacking Kevin. They're going after all the top babyfaces. Both of them, and now all 3 or 4 of them, fit well together. I wouldn't rush Roman back. I think the want and desire to bring Roman back is just going to continue to build. It's going to reach a fever pitch. We're very close to that already. Knowing that the moment Roman's music hits, it's going to be an explosion. And I will say, I think Roman, upon his return, which I'm predicting as early as Money in the Bank, I would still say it's the SmackDown after that we get a Roman Reigns return to set up a SummerSlam match, which could be Roman versus Solo, or it could be Roman's OGs versus, the Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and Jacob Fatu. With you could have a few different combinations. So I think that's probably what's going to happen when you look at look ahead to where and how Roman returns. It's as early as Money in the Bank, but I think it's probably in the next 3 weeks when you look at it. So certainly highly anticipated, no doubt about it. I found myself sitting there just imagining the pop for Roman, imagining what he's going to do. Here's my guess. That's when we're diving into specifics, that Roman will come out when he does. He won't immediately attack Solo. He won't immediately attack Tama Tonga Tangaloa, but Roman Reigns is going to get beat down bad and maybe bloodied by the bloodline. And then you'll have Jimmy and Jay come in to even the odds. They'll get beat down, and it's 4-on-3, and it's 4-on-3 for weeks and weeks. And then maybe The Rock or maybe Cody Rhodes steps in for the moment to help out Roman Reigns out of respect. Maybe. Because I don't know who that fourth person is going to be. It's a bit of a lopsided matchup for the moment. But all right, well, I've dove into that enough. I just wanted to bring that about and just tell you I'm excited. I'm excited for Roman's return, and I haven't said that in how long. All right, well, now again, I want to shift a little bit to Paul Heyman and Punk. That opened the show, which was, just the history between those two. It's well documented. They have on-screen chemistry. They're both masters of the mic. And it was fun to hear them converse, which we haven't seen on air in a long time. Paul Heyman, as I said earlier, is very distraught. He's trying to warn CM Punk, get out of here. Solo heard that they believe this is your city, and that pissed off Solo. And so CM Punk obviously doesn't heed the warning. And then out comes Solo and Tama Tonga and Tangaloa. So I just want to talk. The Paul Heyman Punk interaction was very telling, and having Heyman, blatantly try to warn the people that the new bloodline is trying to attack and then also blatantly try to leave the group. It's amazing that Solo's tolerating this as well as he is. I mean, he has a hairpin trigger, so it's weird that they haven't tried to threaten Heyman. I know that Solo had said to Heyman backstage, "Oh, you and me are going to have a talk and all this. You're trying to leave." It just feels like there should be more of a violent response. And if you're trying to hide it, like Paul Heyman is, out in the open doing this. So it's not a complaint. Don't take it the wrong way. It's not a complaint at all. It just seems a little bit out of character that they would let the wise man who pledged his begrudgingly and resistingly pledged his services to Solo and his rogue bloodline, but then goes on TV, and he did this with Kevin Owens a couple weeks ago too, trying to warn them to get him out of the ring, and then says he wants out. It's a little weird, but certainly nowhere. It's not anything that could ruin the story. So far, it has been a very well told story. I've enjoyed the hell out of it. So, all right, that's enough of that for now. I took up 16 minutes on this whole Solo and Roman deal, but it's exciting. I have to say, things, as you can tell, are heating up. If you didn't already know that. But before I continue, if you haven't checked out Michael Ritter's final SmackDown review, go check it out. It is his final show here on the WWE podcast. Again, much thanks to his contributions over the years. He's been reliable. He's easy to work with, talented, and I'd encourage you to go listen to the show. This for the final SmackDown review that he did for us, his 200th show here. And I appreciate the heck out of what he's done. And, go continue to support him. Again, Football Function is the podcast. If you like football and you have an itch for it and you're ready for the season already, but check it out and get yourself, if nothing else, ready for this upcoming season by hitting that subscribe button for him. Again, it's called Football Function. But all right. So moving on, here's a guy I haven't talked about in a while. L.A. Knight, and Logan Paul. L.A. Knight continues to get really nice pop after really nice pop. It's like, he caught fire for a while, and then he was the victim of just bad timing with Punk and Orton returning at Survivor Series. Remember that? They both returned in the same night as L.A. Knight was just getting hot. So it's bad timing for Knight, but I think he's got some of that momentum back. Now, does that mean it's going to lead him to a world title or the WWE title? Probably not. But he's living in this world of the U.S. title, and that's a place that I think a lot of us thought he would be when he initially got this push, and you knew he wasn't going to beat Roman in that one-on-one match last year. But you figured he's going to live maybe in that U.S. title picture, and it took a while for him to get here, but he's here. He's here. And what I liked about the promo he cut on SmackDown, again, a very good episode of the show, very good. He was talking about how he's going to win the triple threat next week, where he finally gets a little bit of his hands on Logan Paul, along with Santos in the triple threat, in Madison Square Garden, nonetheless, which does lend itself to maybe think, big returns. Possible, but I wouldn't put my stock in it. But what I liked is that he actually gave us the possibility of somebody cashing in on a belt that's not the WWE title or world title. That he wants Logan Paul so bad, and he wants to humiliate Logan Paul so bad, and that the fact that Logan continues to sneak attack or not show up or whatever, that he'll be forced to when Logan Paul is cashed in on by Knight. So it's just, I know that he wouldn't be the first one to do it. I think Austin Theory did it, didn't he? For the U.S. title, because he claimed that, it's not worth trying to cash it in against Roman, some lame excuse. So he wouldn't be the first, but it's very rare that a Money in the Bank briefcase holder goes after somebody and cashes in on someone that is not a top guy. And I think that's fine. You know what? Like, if you don't dislike a guy so much, It doesn't have to be for the world title. I think most of the time it makes sense that you go after your top belt, just logical. But I also believe at the same time that it makes sense that you occasionally go after a belt that has a rivalry sizzling so good that your Money in the Bank briefcase holder wants to take the belt off the guy he hates so much. So short story is I like this. I like that he at least floated the possibility of bringing out the briefcase for a cash in on the US title. It's possible. And LA Knight continues to be mega over. And I don't know how much longer this sustained support for Knight can go, but I don't know if he'll win the title right away, because at the same time, Logan Paul is doing a very nice job as US champion. I don't care that he's not there that much. I know so many people care about that. And you may say, you're such a hypocrite. You were complaining when Roman wasn't there. Yeah, because he's your top guy and he did it for 4 years. I mean, and yeah, that was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. I still stand by how ridiculous that was. And but my point is that I don't hate the fact that Logan Paul's not there every week. I think it adds to his character. It is annoying, but annoying in a way that is, it doesn't overall affect the product in a way that Roman's title did, where it was all encompassing and it was the most important belt. And for a while, there was no counter title or no duplicate title, parallel title on Raw. Remember, there was like a whole year where Raw didn't have a title until Seth won it in May of 2023. So, I don't think it's a big negative that Paul's not there every week. I mean, at the very least, he's, cutting promos from one of his many condos or wherever he is all the time, traveling or, So even if he's not on the show wrestling, he is still fairly active, especially when you compare it to Roman Reigns in his title run for the last couple of years of his run anyway. But LA Knight, I like what he's got. Santos getting involved in the mix, getting hit with a BFT. Nothing wrong there. Santos has cooled off considerably, though, and I know not everyone can be hot at all times. It's just the nature of the product. Not enough days or not enough minutes in the show and all that. But Santos, remember when he turned? He turned heel and he was really hot for a while, and he's cutting good promos, and then he just petered out. So I don't know if I should be concerned or if it's just kind of the nature of the business, but LA Knight got the better of him, stood tall. And then Logan Paul came out of nowhere and attacks LA Knight. Threw him into the ring post and then used his, his steel reinforced whenever, I don't know, he broke his hand at one point and he got a reinforced steel wrist or something. And they clocked LA Knight. I would have liked if he actually had knucks in his pocket, though. I want the brass knuck thing to continue, but I'll take this. I mean, he hit a quote-unquote knockout shot on Knight. It's fine, but I would have liked if he pulled out the knucks instead of just, relying on his own fist. But still, no complaints here. I think it's a very well done, simple to understand rivalry that'll culminate in maybe Knight taking the belt from Logan Paul. It's at least a discussion to be had. So, all right. We also got Bianca Belair versus Michin versus Chelsea Green in a Money in the Bank qualifier on SmackDown. And to the surprise of some people, Chelsea Green won this. And it was a bit confusing to me that Chelsea Green won this until I'm thinking to myself, well, Bianca doesn't need that, number one. Michin is just kind of there. And then you have Chelsea Green, who is the darling heel. And she's in a funny spot in her career. Because she's inherently unlikable, but then you also can't help but be charmed by how ridiculous she is. And how oblivious and lack of self-awareness her character is. It's all like endearing, but you don't like her. It's a very strange feeling you have with her, but you're also really entertained by her shenanigans. And how long that and how lucky she's been in certain scenarios. So she ends up winning here because Bianca hits her finish on Michin. And Chelsea Green takes advantage and gets the victory. She hits the KOD, but Bianca went for a cover, and then Chelsea Green pulled her off and then rolled up or just pinned Michin. I like it. So you have Chelsea Green, a part of the Money in the Bank briefcase matchup at the PLE. All right. So let's see. We then got Drew McIntyre bloodying Punk. And I thought when I saw the images, unfortunately, before SmackDown, and I figured we're going to see a brutal beatdown. You know, you're going to see him put through a table. You're going to see chair shots. And all we saw were the results afterwards. Because as an interview was going on with Grayson Waller, and I think it was Grayson Waller. I forget who else it was. And we heard banging on the steel door, and the door opens up. Punk is on the ground. Drew's standing there. Blood on Punk's head. I like the touch about blood on Drew McIntyre's fists too, by the way. Those little details I like. And Punk is laying there. McIntyre then puts him on his shoulders and dumps him outside on the ramp. And you're thinking, oh, here comes some brutality, but there wasn't. And I think it's a great way to create the brutality in your mind, where you protect Punk. He doesn't actually have to take any of these shots. He's still recovering from his injury a little bit, I would imagine, a little. You don't want to risk anything. He is a hot commodity, but he's also fragile at his age. And so it's a best of both worlds. You can do that every once in a while where the violence isn't shown. It's just the aftermath that's shown. So it's clever. It's clever. So I enjoyed that. McIntyre, duped Punk. McIntyre ended up, obviously beating him half to death, and McIntyre ended up hospitalizing Punk, who is, clearly going to come back probably as soon as Monday night. Now, CM Punk, I don't believe, is drafted to a brand. Drew McIntyre is. Okay? Drew McIntyre is on Raw. He's a Raw guy, and he shows up on SmackDown. So, for those of you keeping score at home, that took, how many weeks from the draft? A couple. Oh, no, a couple months, I think, right? Not bad. Not bad. For a rivalry like this, I don't mind it. Here's the thing. I know that I've complained in the past about the rivalries, not really warranting crossover and people being on the opposing brands. But when rivalries do warrant it, I have no problem. It just becomes commonplace sometimes for no reason. This was warranted. So I like it. I like it. So, all right. So we then have Carmelo Hayes beating Tama Tonga and Randy Orton in 8 minutes and 50 seconds in a triple threat match that took place. This is a Money in the Bank qualifier. So Carmelo Hayes wins and rolls up Randy Orton after he RKO'd Tama Tonga. I think Tonga Loa got a stunner. And you're thinking, oh, okay, here we go. But it ended with Carmelo Hayes, who easily got the biggest win of his career here on Randy Orton. And I have to say, I'm not liking Carmelo Hayes from the perspective of if they're trying to make him a babyface. I think he's extremely unlikable. I didn't watch a whole bunch of him in NXT, admittedly. But if they're trying to make me like him, it's not because he pinned Randy Orton. Take that out of the equation. I find him obnoxious. I don't find him relatable. I think he's, obviously got a big problem with his ego. And that has to be a heel, right? Like, they're not trying to make him likable, right? Are they? What do you guys think? Because if they are, it's a bad job. It's a bad job. But we'll see. And you know what? It's the right move. It's the right move because does Randy just, kind of like Bianca Belair. Randy doesn't need that briefcase. He's got no chance. Same with Bianca. Does she really need the briefcase? No. You wanted to showcase new talent. It's a great match, a great platform to do that. because it's a match that also allows a lot of the talent the flexibility to showcase their talents with no DQ, crazy amount of different spots they could do with the weapons, high risk. It's a great way to get your name on the map. It's a great way to introduce yourself to fans that may not otherwise know you. So it really is a match built for younger talent. So Carmelo Hayes winning makes sense. It makes sense. And here's what I will also say. Next week, based on the logic that I just gave you, the triple threat between Randy, Logan Paul, and Santos Escobar, I think the winner has been pretty much given to you there, with Santos Escobar winning, because you're going to have Logan Paul and Randy Orton. Logan Paul and LA Knight facing one another for the U.S. title, probably at the Money in the Bank event. So to me, that's how it's probably going to go. We have Logan Paul and we have LA Knight already in a rivalry, where LA Knight, it can't seem to get Logan Paul to be in the same arena at the same time and all that. And it tells me that you're going to have maybe Nick Aldis force Logan Paul to be there at Money in the Bank or be stripped. I mean, I don't know why LA Knight's just not going to Nick Aldis. You don't have to put yourself through hell. Just say, hey, Nick, he keeps avoiding me. Can you just give me a U.S. title match here? Yeah, but the story does still make sense. I just don't think you're going to have LA Knight win that briefcase to have him cash in on Logan Paul. So Santos Escobar is probably going to win there. And he'll probably end up pinning LA Knight. That's what I think. Or, I shouldn't say that, because LA Knight seems to be a bit protected, but so does Logan Paul. So maybe we get the BFT on Logan Paul. Same kind of logic, same kind of finish for the men's triple threat here, and having Santos Escobar take advantage of the BFT and winning the match there. So, all right. What else happened here on SmackDown? Again, they keep teasing Grayson Waller and Austin Theory splitting, and they probably will, but does anyone really care that much? I thought they were fine together. It feels like they're just kind of getting started. It's almost like they're manufacturing the want to see these two split. I don't really have the want or the desire to see these two split right now. So when I keep hearing it and seeing it a little bit teased on SmackDown or wherever, it's like, oh, I guess, like, sure. But they also just got off the ground in terms of, getting chemistry with each other, feeling like an actual team. And then they're already teasing dissension in the group. So we'll see how long that lasts, or if it's just kind of trying to get you off the trail, that nothing's actually going to happen. All right. So we already told you about the main event here with Cody and Solo Sikoa that happened. And let's see here. So what else happened? We got Monday Night Raw that happened. And just as a reminder of Monday Night Raw, I'll give you a quick rundown as I do. Seth Rollins returned. The Wyatt Six massacred people backstage. We did get the all clear from Adam Pearce that somehow Chad Gable's okay and ready to compete. Not just okay, but ready to compete this Monday night. Even though it looked like, someone took a blunt object to his skull and cracked his head open. It's all good, right? So, the Wyatt Six is the talk of the town, understandably. The Wyatt family, the Wyatts, maybe just the Wyatts. I don't know what they're going to be called. Again, there's 5 of them, not 6. So we'll see maybe if the 6th member does show themselves. I would think that they're going to get some promo time this week to get a little bit more information on who and what they are. We know that a few of them, I think Joe Gacy is one of them. Eric Rowan's one of them. Bo Dallas is one of them. We know Nikki Cross is one of them. I'm missing somebody. But if there's going to be 6, we're down a member. So we'll probably get a little bit more information. If we don't, then it's just going to be more massacres. And I don't have a problem with that. for a little while. You know, if they don't talk, like if Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, doesn't talk, I'm fine with it because it's intriguing in watching them who they're going to attack next and what's the strategy. But like, also, I need a little bit more from you. You know, give us the name, first of all, of the group for sure, so we can stop speculating. Is it the Wyatt Six? Is it the Wyatt family? Is it, you know, whatever it is. And also, you know, give us some background on the people that are in your group. Why are they there? Just a quick, brief summary. Am I asking for too much? Maybe. But it is an intriguing group. It's a heck of a way to end Raw last Monday night. You know, it is what it is with the cinematic stuff. We were desensitized to it during the pandemic era. I still don't like it, but it was effective. And I think most people were positive when it came to the reception of it. Most people were, and that's cool. But Rollins came back too, guys. Don't forget Seth Rollins. Poor old Seth Rollins did come back. And, you know, he and Damian Priest had gotten into words, and, you know, they're having their match at Money in the Bank, which Rollins is heavily favored to win, and he should be. You know, I think Seth Rollins is, you know, on track to face Gunther at SummerSlam, and that's going to be a marquee match. I mean, it's way more marquee than Damian Priest versus Gunther. You can't tell me it's not. Again, it leaves Damian Priest a little bit open, though. What does he do? Where does he go? He's got to have some kind of plan after being world champion. They can't just, you would think, keep him off the show. But, all right. So what else? We got Chad Gable just, you know, doing his usual abusive actions against his group, who've kind of finally turned on him. And this is only a part of Chad's worst week in the history of his life. You know, losing the match, losing his family, losing his life. There was so many memes about that. But we had, you know, Chad Gable get shoved by Otis. Not exactly the beatdown we all wanted. So if they consider that the payoff, again, I said this on the Raw review, I'll say it again. That's a weak payoff. Yeah, the crowd popped, but it's like, no. There's got to be more to that. So we'll see on Raw if things continue to escalate with Otis and with Chad, or what that was. But, all right, Chad Gable then did take on Braun Strowman. As I said, Braun Strowman beat Gable in 6.5 minutes. Io Sky versus Kiana James versus Zelina Vega in a triple threat qualifying match for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And Vega hit code red on Sky and had her beat, but James broke up the pin, and it ended up with Io Sky winning to qualify for Money in the Bank. And then we got Sami Zayn doing his screaming routine in the ring, talking about Gable and how it's, you know, been personal, but it's all behind me now. And Braun Breaker came out and he, you know, went face to face with Zayn. Again, Braun Breaker's music sucks. He needs new music. There's just no two ways about it. Please give Braun Breaker, if you're trying to make him the next big guy, the next big thing to pun a Brock Lesnar 2002 marketing slogan, you gotta give Braun Breaker a real entrance theme. So I'm not saying one that needs to be sing-alongable that everyone seems to want these days, but certainly one that's better than the one he's got. A little bit more distinct. Sheamus. It's almost midnight here, guys. That's why I can't speak. So we did get Sheamus versus Breaker, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. We also got Dragon Lee versus Carlito, which ended with Carlito beating Dragon Lee in 8 minutes. And after the match, Judgment Day ushered Dom back while Liv smiled and laughed because Liv fell on him. He didn't resist. She's been stealing his clothing now and sending him messages on X. Happy Father's Day, Daddy, all these things. And Liv, as I've said, has been a pleasant surprise. She's found her role. She's found herself. The return of Rhea Ripley is also one that's building, not nearly as hot as Roman's return, but it is building and building and building. And you're the thoughts you're having are, what is she going to do? when she sees what Dom is doing. What is she going to do to live? It's just, there's so many things as you look down the road. What's going to happen here? Charlotte's going to come back sometime soon. You got to imagine Charlotte's pretty close after her knee injury. The Rock, Roman. I know I go through the list every week, guys, but like, we're kind of back into a mini WrestleMania season here because of all these pending returns. So, fun times ahead. What else happened on Raw? We had Chad Gable throwing a fit. Again, Otis shoved him down after Otis saw what Chad was doing to Maxine, making her walk without her crutch. And McIntyre obviously faux quitted the company that I knew at the time was a fake. But then we had Dakota Kai and Kairi Sane versus Caden Carter and Katana Chance. This was the obligatory 2.5 minute, no consequence, check a box women's tag team match. And that ended, if you care, with Caden Carter and Katana Chance winning the match. All right. We then got Braun Breaker versus Sheamus. Physical. You knew it would be. Brutal. 13 minutes. Sheamus beat Breaker. There was no finish. It was a no contest because Ludwig Kaiser attacked Sheamus and the referee called for the bell. So kind of a weird out of nowhere attack by Kaiser, but I have no problem there. We then had, let's see. We got a Braun Breaker going on his spear happy escapade, spearing. What did he spear? He speared Sheamus. And there's somebody else he speared. Did he spear Zayn? Maybe I'm making that up. He speared Kaiser, I think, too. So, all right. They're also teasing Kofi and Xavier splitting. Sorry, who cares? I mean, I just don't. So if they're teasing that, it's not exactly a hook to watch the show. Maybe like 8 years ago it was. Jey Uso versus Ray versus Finn in a triple threat. Again, triple threat is the name of the game when it comes to qualifiers here. This is the match format they're going with. With the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So we are triple threaded out here. But this ended with Jey Uso winning against Finn and Ray in 16 minutes to qualify for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Jey, a clear favorite, but there's, as the candidate pool continues to fill up, there are stronger cases likely for other guys. So I know Jey was the first one even before Clash of the Castle to mention Money in the Bank. He's trying to figure out, is it Yeet in the Bank? Is it Money in the Yeet? He doesn't know. He put out a poll, if you saw that. So it'll be Money in the Yeet or Yeet in the Bank. I think Jey is probably going to win, early call, but we'll see who the rest of the competitors are, and then I'll make my pick. All right. So again, I think this week, both shows were strong. Both shows have kind of turned the corner from WrestleMania rivalries and cleaning up whatever was left of that and taking out the matches that, up until this point were very predictable in terms of who's going to win, because as I've said, post-Mania for a couple months, nothing's usually changing hands, because that's what Mania is for, to make decisive decisions, and then back, kind of walking yourself back by changing the belt again usually is not the best formula. But it feels like we have finally broken the grasp of WrestleMania 40 and all of its, accolades and all of its rivalries and everything that kind of was spilling into the coming months of wrestling. And it feels like we're finally past it and looking forward to SummerSlam. They're trying to make that the WrestleMania of the summer. We all know what's happening in 2026, right? We all know what's happening there with it being a 2-night event. So, but for the time being, SummerSlam's still a big deal, and we're finally past it. So a lot to look forward to, as I've said, a ton of returns to go. And it's only going to get more fun from here, I believe. And, if you guys want to join us here and go ad-free to get yourself ready for all of this fun that's coming up, head on over to patreon.com/WWE podcast. You can go to the ad-free experience on also Apple Podcasts that has a subscription button there, and you get everything ad-free for a week if you want a trial. There's a 7-day free trial on Apple Podcasts. There's also a 7-day free trial on Patreon. So check that out. And I think that'll do it for me tonight, guys. I do appreciate it. I'll be back on tomorrow. What the heck? Wait, no, I'm losing it. Tomorrow's Monday, right? Yes, tomorrow's Monday. But that means a nostalgia show is coming tomorrow. There'll be a Raw review Tuesday. And then Friday's the mailbag, as I've kind of moved that from Wednesday to Friday with the mailbags kind of shifting gears here. And After Dark is produced on Wednesdays for those of you on the Patreon side of things. So that'll do it for me tonight, guys. Thanks so much for listening. As always, take care, and I'll talk to you next time.